thinks he's still taking front seat.
Yes, that's why I have him behind and in front of me.
And also, before you continue, go through the list of participants. Dr. Erinne used my link. I had to send my link to him, so he came in with my name. You remember the link you receive after registration is unique. So you can rename him.
Where is he? Okay, he's using your name.
You see Mahmoud Abubakar, the one that is muted.
Yes. Okay,
Mahmoud
he's
Abubakar, the one that is muted.
All right.
So you rename him.
Okay, no problem. At least I know he's the one. Doctor sir, you are welcome, sir. I will meet you now. I'm trying to see if, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Are you on,
I'm
sir?
unmuted now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And we highly appreciate the talk you're going to give us today, sir.
Right.
So before you go ahead, I'll give a brief biography of you, sir. So I will go ahead. Dr. John Erinne was born in 13 December 1953 and attended the renowned government secondary school Afipo, passing out in 1971 with a distinction. He graduated with second-class upper degree in chemical engineering from University of Lagos and subsequently did his master's in University of Strathclyde, Glasgow, where he passed out with a distinction. After that, he went ahead and did his PhD in chemical engineering in July 1982, which he obtained from Loughborough University of Technology. Dr. Erinne has wide working experience after he graduated. He had worked with several companies before he set up his own private company. He started working with Chemical and Allied Products Limited as a process engineer in 1982. Then in 3 years after that, after a distinct track record of service with Chemical and Allied Products as a process engineer, he subsequently moved to Texaco Nigeria Limited as a marketing Nigeria, as Texaco Nigeria Limited marketing between 1985 to 1987, where he served as production and plant manager between 1987 to 1995. He made sterling contribution to the growth of Texaco. He spearheaded the upgrade and modernization of lube oil plants, bulk loading facility, led the team that commissioned the first petroleum dairy plant in Nigeria, established an enduring materials management system for the Texaco Apapa complex, initiated and executed an impactful market development strategy based on the design installation of the bulk LPG storage facility on rental for industrial consumers and retail bottlers, superintended the operation of the lube oil, grease, and plastic process plants. In recognition of his spectacular performance, Dr. Erinne won Texaco Latin America West Africa Division Presidential Award in 1991. He left Texaco in 1995 and founded Matrix Petrochemical Limited that has become a respectable oil and gas service company, actively involved in the oil field chemicals, laboratory and pipeline services, lubricants to stroke lubrication. Dr. Erinne also founded the firm of Checks and Associates, a vibrant industrial and energy consultancy that guided NNG in successful implementation of the project that led to the dramatic growth in the Nigerian LPG subsector. This effort he had with LNG resulted in increase in utilization of LPG in Nigeria from 50 million metric ton per annum in 2007 to over 400 million metric ton per annum by 2015. which was an astonishing 700% growth in utilization of LPG in Nigeria, based on the effort of Dr. Erinne. A recipient of numerous local and international awards, Dr. John is very actively involved in Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers and was elected the president of the society between 2011 to 2012, a position he held very meritoriously. He's at the present the chairman of the board of trustees of the society's foundation and the chairman of its International Affairs Committee. John is also a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers Board of Fellows. He was a member, stroke secretary of the federal government special task force on the refineries in 2012 that delivered a very complex report for the extensive reform in the refinery and entire petroleum downstream sector. Dr. John Erinne, a Korean registered engineer with numerous professional publications, is a fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers, Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers, and currently serves on several boards and as the chairman of Vita Visco Limited, a subsidiary of Vitafoam PLC. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Erinne John as our guest speaker for the month of January. You are welcome, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you for your grace in espousing my resume. I'm humbled about this. Let me start by rendering unalloyed apologies to members of this distinguished forum, the HSESG, perhaps the most vibrant SG in NSChE. For my lateness in joining you, it's one of those things that happened. I had a hitch when I was trying to join. I sincerely apologize. I shouldn't have kept you waiting, and it's highly regretted. But having said that, we'll go on to make the presentation. Let me try to share my screen. Okay, right. So what we're going to, the topic of my presentation is chemical engineers are championing process safety in Nigeria. And I'm making this presentation in my capacity as the chairman of the International Affairs Committee and the Process Safety Initiative of Nigeria Committee of Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers. First of all, let me give an outline of the presentation. We'll take a few definitions. Then we'll look at process safety incidents on a global scale, and then come back to Nigeria to look at some process safety incidents we have had, and then look at process safety gaps we can identify in Nigeria, and then what NSChE thinks about that and what NSChE is doing about it. And finally, we'll talk about the concept of Process Safety Initiative of Nigeria. So that.
Am I the only one? I can't hear him.
I can't hear him either.
Okay.
I can't either.
We'll get in touch with him now.
I think Mahmoud is
still online. He's still online.
Okay, still online. So I think we need to draw his attention.
Maybe he has muted himself or something.
No, he's not muted.
He has not.
I'm trying to reach him.
Not muted.
Atta?
Yes.
Request him to activate his video so that we can show him a hand sign.
Okay.
It's possible he didn't pick his phone. I'm sure he's talking, thinking that we are hearing him. But if you put a request that he should switch on his video,
yeah,
that will appear on his screen. Okay. Then if you try, maybe after about a minute or two, we have a recorded backup that we can run.
Okay.
I can no longer see him on the list of participants. I think maybe he has problem with his network or something.
Is the one is Mahmoud Abubakar, the one with the green arrow pointing, with the one with shaded green arrow pointing upwards.
Okay.
That's him.
Okay.
Atta, can you change that name to his name? Can you rename it?
I'm doing that. I'm doing that.
Okay, he's even out now. He's out now.
Has anybody tried to get doctor on the phone? Good evening, everyone.
Yes, I just spoke with him. I just spoke with him.
Okay. Okay. Hello, sir.
I hope you heard me. I said I just spoke to him and told him that we no, I just told him that we've lost him, and he said okay. So he now knows that we have lost a connection with him. He's aware. I will call again and ask.
If he's having problem with his connections, maybe you can run the recorded version so that we don't lose the participants.
Sorry, I just spoke with him. Let's give him 2 minutes. If he's unable to join, then we run the backup. He's trying to change the network that he's using to another service provider.
Mahmoud.
Engineer
Sir?
Mahmoud.
Yes, sir.
Is there a call 2020 on YouTube?
I don't know. Maybe the eco people in the house can answer. I'm not sure.
Because I searched, I couldn't find anything. Maybe they need your expertise.
Okay. I think we should run the backup.
Okay. Can you run it from your end?
Yeah, Mahmoud.
Okay, he's back.
That's great.
Okay.
Welcome back, sir.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Let me reconnect. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
We're with you.
So where did you lose me?
From the beginning.
From the beginning. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Very beginning, yes, sir.
Wow. The devil's workshop. Okay. All right. So I'm very sorry, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The topic of the presentation today is chemical engineers are championing process safety in Nigeria. And I make this presentation in my capacity as the chairman of the International Affairs Committee of NSChE and the Process Safety Initiative Nigeria Committee of the society also. The outline of the presentation is as follows. We'll have a few definitions to lay the background. Then we'll talk about process safety incidents globally, and then process safety incidents in Nigeria, and then identify some gaps in process safety practice in Nigeria. And subsequently, we'll look at what NSChE thinks about the situation and what it can do about it, or what it's doing about it. And then we can talk about the Process Safety Initiative of Nigeria. So that's the outline. And I go straight to the presentation. It's all about safety or industrial safety. So let's refresh our memories on what industrial safety is all about. Industrial safety comprises the measures and actions that are taken to protect personnel and assets from the effects of hazards. Essentially, it's in two parts. You have occupational safety, and then you have process safety. Now, occupational safety focuses essentially on personal safety of personnel at work. It entails the actions taken to reduce hazards that can result in personal injuries, such as slips, trips, falls, burns, cuts, etc., that can happen at work. Now, key characteristics of occupational safety are high frequency of occurrence and the low consequences of the incidents. In effect, when the incidents occur, the consequences are not very high. They're not very severe. Occupational safety is essentially is traditional and very well understood and well practiced in most industries. Process safety, on the other hand, deals with the protection of people and property from episodic incidents that may result from unplanned or unexpected deviations in process conditions. It may be defined as a blend of engineering and management skills focused on preventing catastrophic accidents in the processing, handling, and use of chemicals and petroleum products. The essential features of process safety are that it is usually attended by explosion or fire or hazardous releases. It also tends to affect the workplace and its environs. In other words, it affects people and assets. Now, the essential characteristics of process safety are low frequency of occurrence and severe consequences of incidents. So it's more or less the opposite of occupational safety. So when you look at the severe consequences that attend process safety, you can say that process safety essentially looks at a bigger picture in respect of in the safety space. Now, we can look at the background that led to process safety becoming coming to the center stage globally. Now, seriousness was accorded process safety following the Bhopal disaster that occurred in India in 1984. This entailed the leak of 40 tons of methyl isocyanate gas from an agrichemicals plant in Bhopal, India, in December 1984. The plant was owned and operated by the then major transnational company called Union Carbide, their Indian subsidiary. 3,800 people were killed immediately. The incident occurred, and numerous other subsequent morbidities and mortalities were recorded. It was considered to be the worst process safety incident at the time, and essentially became a wake-up call to the entire process industry. And it became a game changer also in the way people thought and looked at safety, and ultimately became the driver for process safety as we know it today. Now, apart from Chernobyl, apart from Bhopal, we've had quite a number of other incidents related to process safety globally. And it's good to refresh our memories on some of them and how catastrophic they have been. Starting from January 1966, when there was an LPG fire and explosion at a refinery owned by the then Elf Petroleum in France, in Fez, France. Then we have the infamous Flixbury disaster in UK in June 1974, which occurred in a caprolactam plant owned and operated by Nipro Limited. Then you have the Seveso, Italy, July 1976 incident at the Igmesa Chemical Company, hexachlorophene plant disaster. Then we all recall the July 1988 North Sea UK incident at the Occidental Petroleum Piper Alpha platform, which claimed lives and destroyed the platform. Other notable incidents may include Pasadena, Texas, USA, October 1989, when there was an explosion and fire at the Phillips Petroleum AGPE plant, their petrochemical plant just outside Houston in Texas. Then we had the Texas City, USA 2005 BP refinery explosion and fire. Then the Jacksonville, Florida, USA, December 2007, T2 Laboratories, gasoline additives plant explosion and fire. This was not a petroleum, or this was purely a chemical company that made additives, and they had an explosion and fire. It's noteworthy because most of the other examples had been related to either refineries or petrochemical plants. And then there was the Port Wentworth, Georgia, USA, February 28th incident, which occurred at Imperial Sugar Refinery, involving a sugar dust explosion. Again, this is a process industry incident and not oil industry. Just to point out the fact that process safety is all about process industry, including the oil and gas sector. And there have been a number of other more recent incidents. Korea in Washington, USA, it's a refinery incidents. Then the Gulf of Mexico, Macondo blowout and explosion in 2010, that is still fresh in our memories. Richmond, California, Chevron refinery fire. And then another petrochemical explosion and fire in Louisiana in 2013. These are very catastrophic incidents, and even with the best efforts of process safety, we still do have a few of such occurrences. Now, let's, well, I have some clips of some of those disasters that are not particularly exciting to watch or to look at, but they reflect the reality of what lapses in process safety could mean and entail for us. In Nigeria, we've had our own share of process safety incidents also. I'll start by an incident that occurred at Ikorodu in a rubber processing plant in 2002, which entailed fire, which raised one of their buildings, their equipment and machinery, and there were fatalities. Then a few years ago, in 2015, there was a Plateau State Water Board chlorine explosion. Now, these two are essentially process industry related incidents, nothing to do with oil and gas. Now, in 2016, in December 2016, at Nnewi in Anambra State, there was an LPG explosion and fire at the facility of Intercorp Oil Limited, which was very catastrophic. Many lives were lost, a lot of property. The gas plant itself was destroyed, and a lot of adjoining assets were ruined. In January 2020, we had a gas explosion in Kaduna. This gas explosion occurred at a retail outlet, and I remember vividly that it claimed the life of a distinguished professor of physics who happened to be in the adjoining area at the time. Then in March, we had a series of other incidents last year. In March last year, especially the Abule-Ado pipeline fire in Lagos, which occurred about 10 months ago in March, which was another very terrible incident. Then Aurora offshore platform in May 20, another fire incident that was offshore. Then in Ajao Estate in Lagos, there was a gas explosion again in July 2020. This happened at a gas retail outlet. Then Ifako Ijaya, Lagos LPG explosion and fire, that was at an LPG bottling plant. Then Lokoja petroleum tanker fire that involved a tank truck that was conveying petroleum products to a retail outlet. Then another LPG explosion in Lagos, again involving an LPG truck, which was delivering LPG. Then in Anambra State in November last year, there was a petroleum tanker accident and electricity transformer fire. So the combination of those two totally raised an area of that community with some fatalities. Now, again, even this year, even though we are less than a month into this year, we've had several incidents. I can just mention two of them here. the Papa Oshodi Expressway Lagos tank accident, which occurred about 2 weeks ago, and Abeokuta tanker explosion and fire, which also occurred about a week ago. There are many more. I couldn't record all of them. Well, this just gives us an idea that increasingly it's becoming an epidemic in Nigeria, especially with the transportation and handling of petroleum products. We have been slaughtering our people on the roads and destroying our assets, ruining people's sweat out of negligence and failure of process safety. So clearly, there are process safety gaps in Nigeria, and we'll try to identify them. Overall in the country, there's very low level process safety awareness and attention, except perhaps in the petroleum sector, the oil and gas sector. In effect, most people do not really know about process safety, and quite often people tend to mix up process safety and occupational safety. Even in the petroleum sector, where there's some very reasonable level of awareness in the upstream in particular, and the midstream, but even then, this is largely on individual basis. This is essentially on individual basis, and there's no industry-wide platform for propagation of process safety, for strengthening themselves and strengthening process safety. So just each company is doing its own thing. So, so there's no sector-wide platform for it. Then there's no in-depth public investigation of incidents and dissemination of findings of such incidents. So we still haven't found a proper established proper procedures for investigation of these incidents, preferably publicly, and letting the findings be known publicly so that people can learn lessons from those incidents. There's paucity of data and records pertaining to process safety incidents. They're not very readily available. So that does not help in learning lessons also. And process safety is not fully inculcated in undergraduate curricula in chemical engineering and related disciplines such as petroleum engineering, mechanical engineering, chemistry, physics, and so on and so forth. And above all, there's no organization in country, in Nigeria, dedicated to the cause of process safety. We know about Institute of Safety Practitioners of Nigeria, ISPON, which has done a lot of work in occupational safety, but they're certainly limited in process safety. So, having made these observations, noted the epidemic of incidents in Nigeria and the gaps that we just discussed, NSChE felt compelled to do something about the situation, to act before it gets too late. So we're highly concerned about the incidents and events and evident process safety gaps. NSChE has spearheaded the formation of Process Safety Initiative of Nigeria, PSIN, which is incorporated as a not-for-profit organization in the country and serves as a platform for driving process safety in the country. It was initiated by the International Affairs Committee and actively supported by other relevant organs of NSChE, including the Board of Directors, the HSE Sectoral Group, which I have the privilege of meeting with today and discussing, sharing ideas today, and the Education and Research Sectoral Group, and then the National Secretariat of the Society. We're cooperating actively with the Center for Chemical Process, Center for Chemical Process Safety of the US, which is an organ of American Institute of Chemical Engineers. And this is essentially in the spirit of the subsisting MOU between AICHE and NSChE. So this is one of the benefits we are deriving from the MOU between the two organizations. What are the objectives of PSIN? Now, I'll go through them. One, create strong awareness of PSIN, PS in the oil and gas and chemical process sectors. Engender sharing of best practices among all players in the sectors. Collect, analyze, disseminate, and share process safety data and information amongst industry stakeholders to advance and deepen process safety knowledge and best practices in the sectors. Drive process safety advocacy in country. Contribute positively to public policy formulation in areas relevant to process safety. Spearhead inculcation of process safety in undergraduate curricula in relevant disciplines. Equip lecturers and academics in the relevant disciplines with the vital knowledge and skills required to instruct the students. Enhance the competencies of industry practitioners on a continuing basis. And finally, provide a collaborative platform for interfacing with the global process safety community. So having established PSIN as a registered not-for-profit organization in Nigeria, defined its objectives, of course. Now, what is the structure envisaged for this organization? As I indicated, it's already registered as a not-for-profit organization. Now, it's envisaged that membership of the organization will consist of oil and gas and chemical process industries companies and organizations and stakeholders, including manufacturers, consultants, contractors, government agencies, regulators, academics, and researchers. And research institutes, insurers, professional associations, et cetera, et cetera. All stakeholders are expected to be part of it. And it's expected to be sustained mainly from membership subscriptions. Activities are spearheaded in the interim by NSChE through the process PSIN committee of the society and the board of trustees of the organization, which was set up by NSChE as part of the requirements for the registration. The current focus between the PSIN committee and the board of trustees is to attract stakeholders to join the organization as members. So the update, the status of PSIN today is that 2 key organizations in the country have accepted the invitation to join PSIN. These are Nigerian LNG and the NNPC group. And we consider this a major breakthrough. And with this, we are almost set to go. We are actively canvassing others, and as presently, this includes major oil companies in the country, such as ExxonMobil, Chevron, Total, Shell. Then the Dangote group, especially the sugar and cement divisions, which are matured process industries, flour mills of Nigeria, and then the Department of Petroleum Resources, who are the repository of safety in all its ramifications in the oil and gas sector. We envisage that PSIN as an organization should kick off once we strike a critical mass of 4 or 5 members. We have 2 members who have joined. NSChE automatically is assumed to be a member. So maybe we have 1 or 2 more, we're set to go. We're working very actively on this, and we hope that before the end of this quarter, PSIN will become a reality indeed. So going forward, we're intensifying membership drive, and get the organization populated. We hope an office will be set up in due course, and an executive secretary and support staff will be engaged. That the PSIN committee will ultimately sooner or later be dissolved, and the BOT will also be reconstituted by the eventual members of the organization, and then the organization will assume a life of its own. This is essentially what we aim to do. So in a nutshell, I've tried to situate process safety in Nigeria and to share with you what the society thinks about it and what the society is doing, the response of the society. We believe that this is what we owe Nigeria, given our specialist knowledge and skills. And we hope that with everybody responsible cooperating, that we are going to be able to deliver. We're already well on the way to delivering, and there's no looking back. Thank you very much for your attention, and more particularly, thank you very much for the opportunity to share these ideas with you. Once more, I accept my apologies for all the glitches that have that wanted to mar this presentation, but I'm glad we overcame them, and I was able to succeed, to prevail and succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the excellent presentation. I think despite the hitches we've had today, I'm sure everybody will agree that the presentation was our time. I think we are grateful for the excellent presentation, sir. So we'll go straight ahead and take the questions and answer. If I have some question for you already in the chat. I will before I get people to ask questions physically, I'll read out some of the questions for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Like one of the questions says, can an individual be a member of PSIN, and how?
Okay.
I'll take the questions and you respond together.
Sure.
The other one
sure,
said,
I'm taking notes.
Okay. The other one said, thanks for the heads up. Thanks for the heads up. We will join the organization. Please, your contact, sir. That's from Engineer Tukur of Dangote. Okay. Another question. I want to ask the question. Okay, I will. That one want to. Okay. So what does it entail for an organization to join PSIN?
Okay.
So while you answer these questions, before I allow people to give you questions verbally, so you can go ahead and address these questions, this set of questions.
Thank you very much, Abdulaziz. First of all, the way it is conceived right now, membership is restricted to organizations only. It's meant for corporate organizations and not for individuals or practitioners, because it's the structure and the way it's supposed to deliver service makes for membership from organizations, not individuals. So if you belong to an organization that is a member, then through that organization you can participate, and your organization can also benefit tremendously from its being a member, subscribing to the membership of the organization. That's the way it's envisaged. So regrettably, there's no room, at least for now, for individual membership. So that also takes care of the second question, which wanted contacts for joining. For now, please, let's work on our respective organizations to be able to join. The third question is, what does it entail for an organization to join? I'll say that all it entails is that if an organization is interested, we'll reach out to that organization. If anybody knows, is involved in an organization that could be a member and will benefit from membership, let us know. We'll reach that organization and we'll also give them the membership form which they will fill, and that's all it takes. For as long as they're a bona fide company in the process industry sector or in the oil and gas sector, they're welcome on board.
Okay. At this point now, for those that want to have verbal discussion, especially our senior fellows, senior colleagues in the house. Please, sir, you can unmute yourself, then you ask your question, sir.
I had indicated that I wanted to ask a question.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Actually, I saw it. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Actually, it's both a question and observations.
I'm in a meeting.
When the examples of accidents in plants were being given, I noticed the absence of accidents that have happened, particularly in the refineries that I know. There had been serious accidents in almost all the 3 refineries in Kaduna, not 1, not 2, in Warri, in Port Harcourt. We can say that this accident did not result in deaths, but in colossal loss and a lot of millions of dollars were required to put back affected facilities. This points out that we are not keeping record at all, or I had mentioned this before. So when PSIN becomes operational, I think for the purposes of record and even learning from what caused those accidents, it's necessary that these things are documented, even if they were not investigated, because we're talking about the students being exposed to process safety and so on. If there are no examples for them to, and these things happened, and I have witnessed them. That is one. And the other one is this process safety. What the stakeholders? I'm thinking that, is it restricted only to the plants? Because what about the handlers? Most of some of these accidents are tanker drivers, carrying petroleum products to various places and so on. The Truck Owners Association, couldn't they be member of such, of this PSIN? Because it is not just, if we think TQM, we should not just talk about the workers being aware, okay. maybe the contractors.
Thank you very much, sir. I think your point is made very clear, sir. I will take one more question because we are running out of time, sir. Sorry for cutting you, sir. Thank you.
Oh, no, it's okay. I had actually finished.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have Funshaw Arik Dolu. Can you unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question? Funshaw, are you there? Okay, Engineer Tukur. Go ahead, Engineer Tukur, Lawal.
Good evening, my senior colleagues. Thank you very much for this beautiful presentation. I think already our thoughts are provoked on how we can join, how we can contribute. My own part is that I think the organization need to have a rethink on the membership. Membership drives is important. The companies might be embedded with a lot of other things that they may not give the necessary attention to the hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I hear you.
So what I'm saying is, as long as we do not have individuals joining the organization, you may not have the drive that you may need for PSI to reach its objectives. So I think you need to consider that, unless you are constrained by your constitution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Tukur Lawal. Anybody else? Our senior colleagues?
Yes. Engineer Obong.
Okay, Engineer Obong, go ahead.
Engineer Obong.
Engineer Obong, go
Okay.
ahead. Please make it very brief.
We appreciate this. We appreciate this very exciting lecture. I want to add that in terms of getting members, Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers should be invited, because when we haven't talked about process safety, the mechanical structures need to be of very high integrity, and they may be very useful in checking things like that, particularly in respect to codes, which are used in putting together these process plants. And secondly, Standard Organization of Nigeria recently see some LPG bottles, cylinders, which were substandard. Apparently, they can also be useful if they are brought into this organization, because they also do things which pertain to safety. Those are just my few suggestions.
Thank you very much. Sir, can you go ahead and address the questions, sir? We're hoping to round up in the next 10 minutes before 7 o'clock. Dr. Erinne.
That's probably dropped off again.
Yeah. Okay.
It's dropped off again.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Hello, do you hear me?
And the so-called questions.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope you had the questions, sir.
Yeah, I have the questions.
Okay.
Now, yeah, Dr. Wadas, we are more of comments.
No, it's there, sir. It's there.
I will also add that yes, along the line in my presentation, I did highlight that one of the key objectives of PSIN is to foster awareness about incidents that occur in Nigeria, and also to assist and facilitate proper investigation and dissemination of knowledge of the outcomes. That's the way it's done elsewhere in the world. And I don't think there are any two ways. There's no shortcut to it. We must be able to, first of all, own up to the facts of incidents, investigate those incidents, understand why they occurred, and learn the necessary lessons from them. And then that becomes the basis for teaching of the coming generations of engineers and technical personnel. I'll give myself as an example. When I went to do masters in UK in 1978, the Flixborough incident of UK of 1974 was still fresh. The FNSChE LPG fire in France was also relatively current at that time. And I know we did a lot of examples, in classroom examples, that were drawn from those two incidents. So that is what we need in Nigeria for the students, for us to have those facts. Students will learn, and the operators of those facilities will also learn. And such incidents don't reoccur. Where regulations have to be changed, we'll learn the lessons and change the regulations. I mean, there are just no two ways to it. So I'm keenly looking forward to PSIN making an impact in this area. Then Engineer Tukur still talked about individual membership. Like I said, the way it was configured ab initio, the focus was on corporate organizations who will now have to go back to their respective organizations, respective companies and institutions, and make the difference and allow their workers, their members, to benefit from their belonging to the organization. If along the line there's reason to change this and to allow for individual membership, then that should not be a problem. But for now, that's the way it's been set up, and that's the conception at the beginning. And with the organization is about to kick off. if, as it kicks off, there's reason to adjust, to moderate, to change, I can assure you it will be done. Then the final suggestion came from Engineer Bom, which I think are very positive suggestions. Also, yes, I agree with you completely. Related professionals also, it's not all about process engineering, even though you may rightly argue that PS is rightly driven by chemical engineering or process engineering. But also related professions have a lot of input to make to it. You just cited mechanical engineering. I agree completely. The petroleum engineers may also have something to contribute. The chemists may have something to contribute. So we take note of that, and we should in due course be also reaching out to those related professional associations for them to come on board. That is well taken and is noted. Likewise, Standard Organization of Nigeria, well, okay, we'll reach them. And we hope that if they're interested, they're welcome also to be on board. But these are positive suggestions which can be considered. I believe I've answered all the questions. And,
you have done, sir, done that. Yeah. I only have one question remaining in the chat, a short one. Somebody is still asking, can trade unions be allowed to join PSIN?
That's a very interesting one. To be honest with you, that's a situation that perhaps was not envisaged at the conception. But I believe that is something that can be considered carefully. And because we want it to be, it's envisaged to be a big tower that shelters everybody, all stakeholders. And if the unions are stakeholders, possibly there could be an argument for them to belong. Right now, there's no pitch for the unions, but that's a good idea that can be considered down the line.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for addressing the questions raised. I'm sure most of those questions will add value to the PSIN as gradually NSChE unfolds it with the support of stakeholders. At this point, I will ask my teacher and mentor, Professor Adefila, to give a wrap-up of today's talk. I'm humbled to invite you, sir.
I thank you, Engineer Atta, and I thank everybody. We particularly appreciate the speaker for coming to talk about this thing, which he has been very passionate about. He said so many things, but he didn't, though he said that IC actually birthed this organization, but he didn't want, he was very, very humble not to say that he drove it very vigorously. And he was also very humble, but not to say that he drove the birthing of sectoral groups also in the society while he was president and thereafter, and so on and so forth. PSIN, even from the name, if you drop P, it becomes SIN, and nobody will want to mention that.
You don't want that.
No wonder it started by actually listing the sins, so many sins that have been committed globally and nationally in this area. Then he now ended up by suggesting the closure so that you can ask P, pass. These sins have been passed. Thank you very much, Dr. Erinne. He noted that among those terrible incidences that had occurred, most of them were in oil and gas. But later on, a sugar company was involved and many others were involved. So he tried to show that we should, this PSIN should actually incorporate, all fields of process engineering. Tried to show the difference between occupational hazards and process hazards. It gave us one big characteristics about it. In process hazards are usually very, very fatal and, have very serious, much serious consequences than the occupational one. So this one and the process safety takes note of the occupational and the process all together. Generally, after listing all those various sins that have been committed globally and in Nigeria, he now told us why PSIN was spearheaded by the formation of PSIN was spearheaded by NSChE. For now, there is a very well-known, a very good structure on ground. And right now, two groups of, membership is open to corporations. But with questions that have come on, it may be possible that they may change that. Two major organizations have come in, NLG and NMPC. It is expected that they should be able to win many others, like Dangote and Co. We've already had a major Dangote man, here saying that they will definitely join. And by the time they join, the structure will change because all these stakeholders coming together will now come up with a new board, a new structure, essentially. Thereafter, questions are raised, and very, very good answers have been given. It is expected that by quarter one of 2021, that the PSIN should already be working, and it's expected that before the end of the year, in the second half of the year, the new structure by the more global PSIN should have been established. I think these are essentially the things that have transpired today. I hope I was able to cover without having to repeat all over. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the summary of the presentation. My chairman, my HSE sectoral group chairman, Engineer Mahmoud, anything before I close?
You are in charge of. If there's anything you want me to do for you, I'm here. But
I get boss.
No, if you are done, you can close.
So thank you very much, everybody, for the presentation. Before I close, I want to make a short remark. We are pleading that everybody should please assist us. Either you make presentation to us, we need people that will make presentation to us, or link us to potential people that will give us good presentation. We need people to volunteer to come and make presentation to us. And I have to commend everybody today. Since I've been attending to presentation, I think today at certain point we had 42 people. We had 42 people involved in today's presentation. To me, it's one of the highest I've been involved in since we started this monthly seminar presentation. So before we close, I'll call on Engineer Bilkisu Ibrahim to give us closing prayer. Engineer Bilkis Ibrahim, please unmute yourself. Are you the Engineer Bilkis Ibrahim? Are you hearing me? So if you're not hearing me, then Engineer Usman Sani. Engineer Usman Sani.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, please, can you give us closing prayers, please?
Okay, sir. We thank Almighty Allah for giving us the opportunity to participate in this wonderful presentation. We pray and hope
Let me give you the card.
What Allah spare our life.
Tell her to give you the ShopRite card. The card you have
Another month.
It's in your pocket. Let me see.
صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you. May God bless you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for my senior colleagues, the fellows, past presidents, everybody here present. It has been a very nice time sharing my inaugural handling of the seminar presentation with everybody. Bear with my mistakes. I hope to improve as we are going on. So by next month, I hope to see you next month by God's grace. Thank you. Good night. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Well done, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We
Good night.
appreciate you.
Good night. Bye-bye.